Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir. For this episode, we're going to obviously talk about Jimmy Butler. So Brian Windhorst has basically said that the Miami Heat are going to basically lower their expectations for a Jimmy Butler trade offer, and they're going to take a cheaper option at this point or deal in order to get him off this team before the NBA trade deadline, which is next week on February 6th. So the Heat are optimistic that a deal will get done. And there is a possibility that if they get an offer that they like this week, which will be a cheaper deal from their original asking price, they can get a deal done this week. Usually, when it comes to the NBA trade deadline, better offers come closer to the actual trade deadline. So on the 5th and the 6th, you'll see a lot more deals coming through across the NBA. And so Windhorst said he's more sure than ever that the Miami Heat will trade Jimmy Butler and a new team can be in the mix because no one wants Bradley Beal, as I've been saying on all these videos. No one wants his horrible contract. So the Suns might not acquire Jimmy Butler because they can't get a team to take on Beal's contract. A third team, a fourth team, a fifth team has to be involved, perhaps, but they're not finding any luck. So let's take a look at a clip, though, from Windhorst to hear from himself directly regarding the latest on the Jimmy Butler drama.
Jimmy Butler's going to get traded. I wasn't sure about that maybe 7 to 10 days ago. I really am more sure than ever that that's going to happen. The Heat are trying to make it happen. They have backed down on their asks to teams that they had 2-3 weeks ago when this whole saga really started. They're willing to do more. And I think that there is really a chance now that more teams, I think, are going to wade in here because the price on Butler is going to be lower than just the Phoenix Suns, which is the way it's been. But I have to say, working on this story every day for 6-7 weeks, this is truly one of the most immovable forts meets impenetrable objects I've ever seen in my 22 years covering the NBA. Because basically Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley have gone head to head, unwilling to waver. Riley saying, play and we'll deal with it later. Jimmy first saying, pay me, and then saying, I don't care whether you pay me or not, trade me, and basically not backing down. Both of them used to getting what they want. Both of them with a tremendous track record of winning its head-to-head competitions. And so I actually think there's a couple of fascinating things about this, guys. One is this Riley-Butler war. I mean, you could honestly, and the backroom machinations are even more fascinating when they all come out. You could do a mini series on this battle back and forth. The second thing is, I think there's a chance, and nothing is for sure. I really want to make it clear. I can't predict how this is going to go, but I do think there's a chance that there's a team out there that might be able to pick up a difference-making player for relatively cheap in this next week. Jimmy Butler's price is at a point where more teams are in. There could be a bit of a power shift. I don't think any of the top teams are going to get him. I think you're looking at teams that are in the middle of the pack, older teams, teams that need a Hail Mary right now that may be looking at whether they can acquire him.
So, yeah, there you have it. New teams can be in the mix, and one of the top contenders doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get Jimmy Butler because he's a little bit cheaper. And this can open opportunities for those middling teams, probably preferably in the West. I'm assuming the Miami Heat are going to trade him to the West. And that can change the balance of the NBA landscape as well. If a team like who's a mid team in the West, like a Mavericks, I guess, which was one of his, original teams that he wanted to go to, even though they don't really have the assets. But again, if we're going to take a lower package to acquire Jimmy Butler, then maybe the Mavericks get in the mix, or even the Lakers have been linked. They said that LeBron and him have a good relationship. They like each other. Maybe they trade Rui and Vincent in like a pick. perhaps. So like the Lakers have been playing a lot better. They're fifth. The Clippers, who knows? Or even the Nuggets, they're not a middling team, obviously, even though they're fourth. The West is just stacked right now. So anything can happen. He could still go to the East as well. Maybe the Knicks come into the fray. Who knows? That'd be crazy. Maybe the Bucks somehow end up getting him. But all I know is this is going to happen before the trade deadline. Jimmy Butler is not going to play again in a Miami Heat uniform. He's suspended indefinitely at minimum 5 games, 4 more games now, which means the next 4 games are going to be up until the February 6th trade deadline, meaning he can play after the trade deadline, which means he's going to be gone, in my opinion. So anyway, this Jimmy Butler saga has been crazy, and it's been annoying to keep up with. And it does kind of suck because Pat Riley is kind of caving at this point if he's going to take a worse package. Like, how worse of a package? Like, I don't think it's going to be that bad. Pat Riley's too stubborn to take on garbage just to get rid of Jimmy Butler. So we'll see what that is. Let me know in the comments what you predict that package could look like. And also just let me know in the comments what team you think is actually going to acquire Jimmy Butler.